Because that's so embarrassing. To fly freely at the speed of sound like a fighter jet. To fearlessly withstand all attacks like a tank. To wield the weaponry of a fortress, a warship. What if all these superpowers were compressed into the left arm of a single soldier? I'm not talking about some sort of comic book hero. What you're looking at is the next generation of soldiers who will defend world peace. The Aerial Augmented Infantry, otherwise known as the Gauntlet Knights. This elegant gauntlet worn on the left arm and reminiscent of medieval knights contains all the weapons and technology humanity has given birth to thus far. It controls all the HMS in their bodies and the surrounding air, enabling them to free themselves from the laws of the surface world and surpass them. The video showed a lone boy soldier wearing a gauntlet on his left arm, standing on a massive airstrip. A whistle blew. His body floated upwards about 10 centimeters. He literally was floating. Cutting-edge HMS techniques made it possible to create controlled force fields and releasing his body from gravity. The whistle blew again, and his floating body danced like a bird, flitting about the space over the airstrip at will. Gauntlets give soldiers the same mobility as an aircraft. Their maximum speed is in no way inferior to the best fighter jets from around the world. And the powerful Gs that would normally put a harsh burden on them have been eased thanks to the anti-G HMS in their bodies. This allows them to fly in ways that pilots' existing aircraft could have never dreamed of. And when taken to an extreme, even ricochet flying is possible. The video changed scenes. A Gauntlet Knight practicing the skies above the training grounds was being recorded from behind by a friendly plane in pursuit. One moment the Gauntlet Knight was flying in an elegant, familiar way of the plane, the next its trajectory became complicated and bizarre as if it was being bounced at odd angles with the diffused reflection of light. Because it looked like they were rebounding fiercely off the walls of the pipe as they flew, this was known as ricochet flying. As the word ricochet suggests, the Gauntlet Knight kept flying at fierce sharp angles without losing any of their speed. Normally flying like this would put enormous G's on their brain and all their body, likely killing them instantly. However, HMS Tech has freed them from all the ground's restrictions. Even amazing mid-air movements like these are now possible. And I want you to pay close attention to this footage. This is a fire control system trying to target a Gauntlet Knight. As it tried to target the ricochet flying Gauntlet Knight, a computer-controlled sight indicator with prediction lines kept appearing and disappearing. This Knight's movement, which ignored the common sense of physics, confused the fire control system, and it was completely unable to lock on to its target. All fire control systems created so far were completely useless against Gauntlet Knights. Though they can display this level of mid-air mobility, Gauntlet Knights are not planes. They are truly infantry. Though they can display this level of mid-air mobility, Gauntlet Knights are not planes. They truly are infantry, aerial augmented infantry. Their ability to land and take off is completely unrestricted, so they can carry out tactical operations anywhere a human is able to stand. By this point, Gauntlet Knights are already possess all the strength of a fighter jet's VTOL aircraft and helicopters. So then, what about their weaponry? You're probably thinking that regardless of their mobility, they're completely useless if they don't have firepower to take down their targets. But when it comes to Gauntlet Knights, that's an utterly needless concern. The Dimension Container System, brought about by the cutting-edge 4DP technology, made it possible for a person to take massive arsenals of weapons and ammunition with them. The scene changed. A boy soldier, who was apparently a Gauntlet Knight, stood still in what looked like a vehicle service station. Set about him in a radial pattern were all sorts of weapons and ammunition, like a weapon bargain sale. There were rows and rows of missiles designed for fighter jets, just as many precision smart bombs, and even several heavy torpedoes designed for major warships. This is clearly more weaponry than your average fighter jet. Furthermore, there were howitzers and their ammunition laid out alongside with them, as well as the multi-barrel machine guns with ammo belts folded several times over. And that wasn't all. There were also reconnaissance drones, several types of signal flares, and ammunition resupply containers, and various construction kits with everything down to the slightest detail packed in. This massive set of military ordnance can all be carried out by a single Gauntlet Knight, and if they can specialize in carrying capacity, they can fit in the same amount of weaponry as an attack carrier. Witness the armament of a battleship and the mobility of a fighter jet. This is a Gauntlet Knight, but that's not all! They also possess an ultimate technique that cannot be reproduced with any currently existing weaponry. Watch and learn! The scene changed and it now appeared to be an outdoor shooting range. The same Gauntlet Knight boy soldier stepped forward. Several adult soldiers stood side by side some distance away, all pointing guns at him. Immediately after a whistle blew, the sound of gunfire and smoke rushed toward the boy as though a bunch of firecrackers had been set off. That was it. Nothing happened. It was a bit of a letdown. Do you understand what just happened? Let's slow it down a bit. The same scene was replayed in super slow motion. Bullets were really launched from the soldiers' guns. However, they were all bounced back along with a white glow from a spot directly in front of the Gauntlet Knight. The next time a whistle blew, a soldier who had been lying prone and wielding a light machine gun sent a signal and laid down a powerful barrage. It was so fierce you could see what was happening clearly now, even without the slow motion. This is the invincible defense Gauntlet Knights proudly wield, the rejection shield! The scene changed again. The same soldier boy was standing in a different part of the shooting range, but this time the camera was far away from him. After a countdown, the boy was swallowed up by a massive explosion like something out of a Hollywood film. But when the flames disappeared, he was still standing there with a blank expression as though nothing had happened. An invincible defense! An easy control over the skies! And the ability to use endless weapons at will! And every single little bit of that is all compressed into a single Gauntlet Knight. In this new era, the numbers representing the military might of nations will surely shrink drastically. All we need to know is how many talented Gauntlet Knights each nation has. The screen changed several more times, showing various scenes of Gauntlet Knights training. Sometimes they led fighter jet formations, and sometimes they led aircraft carrier fleets. Then they landed jauntily on the ground surrounded by a tank division. Come, boys and girls learning to become defenders of peace! Wouldn't you like to join those who stand at the head of all militaries of peace, blazing the way into a new era? The aerial augmented infantry awaits you! The moment you put a gauntlet on your left arm, you'll become a Gauntlet Knight! Very nicely made. Do you think you could get it a bit shorter, though? My back's starting to hurt. The old officer rose from the seat in the projection room, rubbing his back. A young, voluptuous female officer who seemed to be a private secretary helped him up. No, sir. We cannot make it any shorter in light of the regulations. Is that so? Very well, very well. By the way, kids like explosions, right? Bang, boom, and all that. We gotta add more flashy scenes. Also, the hook in the first 15 seconds is important. Understand? I studied film back in the day, so I know all about it. When the old officer started talking proudly, the other soldiers all took out notepads at once and made a show of writing it down diligently. Look at this moronic video they made. As if just putting a robot toy on your arm could turn anyone into a superhuman being. In the first place, these aero-augmented infantry things are still just theoretical. It's just a portable system for individual flight wielded by specialist troops. That'd be realistic enough. But then you throw in one bit of ridiculous technology after another and call them Gauntlet Knights? What are they, superheroes from some American comic book? True, there weren't any lies in their catalog specs. They could fly like fighter jets, carry weaponry like battleships, and set up invincible barriers like tanks. In that propaganda video, the brat that looked like he was flying around happily. Still, the shock reduction provided by the anti-GHMS isn't invincible. He did a bit too much ricochet flying. After the shoot, the capillaries in his eyeballs ruptured, eventually rendering him unconscious. If only they filmed it in one take, he'd probably still be able to see. Even the dimension container, which worked like a 4-dimensional pocket, kept having issues. Just how many brats have been turned into mincemeat when they tried to open it up and immediately got hit by an explosion before they could fire out their rejection shields. Even that rejection shield still only had become stable very recently. If it doesn't work perfectly when a brat's flying at 800 kilometers per hour, all it takes is a lazily flying pigeon to smash their heads to bits. Well, we'll soon have plenty of brats to work with. Put up flashy ads that at least look good. You'll find out all the stupid kids you need. After all, anyone would want to do it. If I had been in my teens and someone told me I could become the face of our entire military flying unaided throughout the sky, I'd be screwed too. Still, a bird in the hand's worth of two in the bush. In the end, it'll just be an e-sport where you can't really fly outside the simulator. By the way, the aerial augmented infantry boy in this video is really young and bold. I'd like to get a chance to meet him. I think you'd bring him to dinner tonight. Oh, that sounds excellent. Captain Okanogi! Major General, sir. I'm afraid to say he's already perished in the line of duty. What? Is that true? What a shame. He looked magnificent, so I was hoping to give his career a boost. Too bad, too bad. Truth be told, that explosion scene in that video just now was also the scene of his death, Major General, sir. The filming schedule was a bit too rushed, so he must have been overworked. He screwed up with his shield during the flashiest scene at the very end. Thanks to that, we were forced to edit it to make it look like he survived a massive blast. God damn it, it's not like we've got the budget for this kind of thing. Sir, it's about time you went to your car. Oh, okay. Well, then, keep up the good work, everyone. Also, everyone's eyes will be on the Area Augmented Infantry Division at the Palestine Festival, so make sure you give it your all. By the way, I believe a contestant from there in Japan will be representing the AOU, correct? Yes, sir. It's the 2nd Lieutenant Mitake Miao of the 0017th Aerial Augmented Infantry Squad War Cat. Damn it, if that skinny brat's supposed to be representing the rising sun of the International Palestine Festival, this world is really screwed. Alright, there you go. There's the intro for the first 10 minutes. Alright. I'm glad I didn't do too many screw-ups. Okay, these abbreviations are gonna kill me, though. And I do have a pronunciation guide. This is kind of an international story where there's all kinds of characters from everywhere. So yeah, give me a moment. Let's start. Phase 1. Thank you for waiting so long for us to prepare. Now, I will finally start up the game. However, are you sure about this? This is merely my personal opinion, but I believe the difficulty level is quite high, given the present circumstances. Still, I am well aware that you know the joy of achieving victory, especially over conditions such as that. This is a considerably high tier of difficulty after all. Your opponent is already fully prepared. This work is created in Japan in the year 2019. We cannot guarantee the possession of this work in the country you currently live in conforms to your country's current laws. Furthermore, if possession of this work results in any sort of damages, we cannot be held responsible for compensation. Additionally, distributing this work on the internet without the creator's consent is forbidden. You must agree to pay us 10 million Japanese yen if you break this rule. If you do not take this personal responsibility for owning and reading this work, and the risks involved in doing so, we ask that you uninstall it immediately. This is a work of fiction. Any similarities to real individuals, groups, religions, all of creation, the will of the universe, plans of God over the bag, and document number 3-4 are entirely coincidental. This work does not approve of any specific ideology, nor does it represent the ideology of its creators. To all video uploaders, for this first phase, you have the permission to record and distribute videos up until the end of the 7th chapter, Poyo! I'll let you know when you get there, Poyo! Yeah, that's my Karo Poyo voice. That's gonna be Karo Poyo. For everyone who's already caught up to CICONIA. The top of Super Tokyo Tower sat 666 meters above the ground. Surrounding it, the scenery of the night stretched as far as the horizon. The hustle and bustle of the surface didn't reach this place, nor did its troubles and complications. The sky is the only place where we can truly be free. And there, atop the antenna mast at the peak of the tower, I stood. My fear of heights is now little more than a fond memory. Of course, that's not really such a great thing. In your everyday life, if you jump out of the third-story window and seriously hurt yourself because you can't be bothered to go down a staircase, well, that's just a joke among people like us, but a pretty common one. Just to check, I glanced at my left arm. It was clad in a bulky contraption that resembled some piece of European armor. That device, which extended from my shoulder to my fingertips, was unsurprisingly called a gauntlet. Knowing it was there meant that I could relax and forget about the laws of physics. I let out a deep breath and gathered my wits. Then I slowly extended my right foot into the black void, the nighttime sea. Gravity pulled on my entire body and I slowly fell forward. I dove into the nighttime sea. A gentle change caused by gravity was soon accelerating me toward the ground at an incredible pace. I was in free fall with the positions of heaven and earth swapped. A natural free fall without any force field manipulation feels the best. My body fell faster and faster. I can never get enough of this sense of acceleration. I was probably getting near the ground, but it felt as though I could sink forever through that black nighttime sea. Part of me wanted to wax poetic, but this was simple vertigo. The sum of my mental data, not including sight, left me fully aware of the speed and trajectory of my fall, as well as the surrounding terrain at the time of impact. The instant before I smashed to the asphalt of the Shuto Expressway, I kicked off the empty air and the ballistic curve of my descent snapped into the right angle. In the vacant space I had launched from, something blossomed, delicately bathed in white phosphorescence. They floated in the air incredibly beautiful, almost as though an angel's feathers had been scattered about. CICONIA when they cry. Yay! Gravity no longer bound me. Though my body was that of flesh and blood, it now soared like a swallow. I'll glide so low I'll be a hair's breadth away from scraping the asphalt of the Shuto Expressway. A train bridge came into sight before me. Across it raced one of those new steam engine locomotives that just debuted this year. The steam engine is synonymous with economic revolution and kicked off a wave of technological advancement. It was also the first step toward mechanized technology. I doubt any of the great technological geniuses of the past would have expected it to make a comeback after the nuclear age. Of course, though it resembles an old steam engine, its operating principle is completely different. After coal, then oil, and then the atom, humanity got its hands on a new ultimate fuel. It was called spiritium. When spiritium engines convert energy, they expel large clouds of a mist that resembles water vapor. And so the haze of countless spiritium engines' exhaust has become the mark of a massive city. I happily burst through the vapor billowing out of the steam locomotive. A forest of skyscrapers awaited me on the other side. Okay. All over were buildings with the Victorian and Art Nouveau themed designs like a scene out of the 19th century, and the brick facades and the spires were beautiful. The golden glitter of the brass steam pipes tangled over every surface was also gorgeous under the floodlights. There were also Japanese-style electric billboards interspersed throughout it. That slightly twisted yet strangely appealing contrast was the essence of the Tokyo metropolis at night. The The cityscape, style, and fashion sense were all reminiscent of the 19th century. However, behind the artistic veneer celebrating the rebirth of economic golden age lay a state-of-the-art inventions that could barely be called the ultimate in human tech. And at the cutting edge of that cutting edge, it had finally become possible for a flesh and blood human to fly like this. Of course, this power was only available to a few people so far. I was one of those lucky enough to enjoy this privilege. Every era and every society is fundamentally crap when you get right down to it. But there's one thing I can say. Being granted the ability to fly freely like this makes me glad I was born in this era. Being careful not to fly up too high, I raced through the forest of skyscrapers and billboards. This felt way more like flying from staring down from above did. The newspapers kept saying that we should cut down the number of electric billboards to avoid disrupting the city's scenery, but I kinda like this look. After all, Tokyo has looked like this since the day I was born. Why should I give a damn about the ancient Tokyo those adults long for so much? This is our Tokyo! As I continued to pick up speed, I slipped past billboards that stretched out over the road and seemingly competed with each other. Greater Tokyo Securities, Miu Spiritium, Yayorozu Life Insurance, cure-alls from Manchido, mental displays by Fujix, cat karaoke sushi cosplay, now get 101 SR wheel spins free, Aesai foodstuffs, eat wisely, mighty soldiers of the rich nation, snacks recommended by the National Defense Boys Club, Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola Ballers are the official sponsor of the International Bell Standard Festival of Peace. I glanced down and saw a gleaming swarm of cars blanketing a highway that wound from the downtown district. The exhilarating feeling of gliding right through all over them was by far the most primal part of the primal joy of flying. You know, you forget this feeling we don't fly every now and then. It's only natural that flying through the air is exhilarating. At that moment, a little frog character hopped in the corner of my mental display. It was the Cellcom's beloved mascot, Kato Poyo. Then it made a mental announcement with that funny default voice. Hi! I'm reading the third installment of When They Cry, which is basically like the latest thing that he's made. That Ryukishi has made. A friend has arrived, Poyo! Immediately, a friend started talking to me through my Kizuna. Who the heck's doing that? I'm busy focusing my mind by remembering my primal self. Well, I guess there's only one person it could be. Hey! Taking a nice relaxed pleasure flight in a place like this? Leave me alone. I bet you haven't warmed up enough yet, huh? Well, Super Genius Jaina has come to play with you! Sheesh, you're such a pest. It was my annoying partner. He never leaves me alone, even when I'm trying to focus my mind in solitude. Yeah, warming up's important. For someone like you, at least. As if you didn't expect me to show up right about now. I'm flying for my own sake. It's not like I was waiting for you. You're such a cute tsundere, meow! What a pain in the ass. Okay, sure, I'm in. I don't want people blaming me if you screw up later on. Activating Dimension Container, Poyo! So, are we using competition rules? Activating Reaper's Eye! Friendly unit Jaden located! Registering as hostile, Poyo! Nah, we can leave it like this. You like this place, right? Hostile unit Jaden has activated its Reaper's Eye! We've been located, Poyo! Don't act like you're doing me a favor by saying that. We don't need a killjoy like rules. Let's just go all out on each other. While we smack talk each other, we both started flying around the... I don't know what's wrong with me. While we smack talk each other, we both started circling the Miu Spiritium building hiding behind it. It blocked our line of fire, but in a gauntlet fight, covering something like this from an infantry battle meant nothing. Time to get started. Let's play. When Meow thrust out his right arm, a burst of luminous angel feathers danced around it, and one after another guided missiles winked into existence. It looked like an ancient magician summoning familiars. The missiles launched one after another, circling around the building and aiming for Jaden on the opposite side. Then, not a beat later, Meow summoned into existence a massive 7-barrel Gatling gun big enough that it covered his body. After all, just as Meow had launched guiding fire missiles around the building, Jaden had launched missiles right back at him. The missiles that appeared one after another from beyond the skyscraper were met by Meow's Gatling gun. They were rapidly caught by the hailstorm of bullets, exploding one after another, bursting the skyscraper's windows to glittering dust. I don't know what's wrong with me. The Gatling gun, which floated in the sky above Meow's right hand, was exactly like those loaded into the warship to defend the anti-ship missiles. These were supposed to weigh over 9 tons. However, it continued to float over their Meow's arm as it weighed nothing at all. I see the way that you're guiding your missiles as twisted as ever, Meow. Jaden intercepted Meow's guided missiles, which had come flying around at him in the same way. If they had come flying via a traditional maneuver, aiming directly for their target, it would have been easy to intercept them. However, these two could control the flight paths of all the missiles they launched. For that reason, no computer could completely intercept a volley of their highly maneuverable missiles as they approached along such complicated trajectories. The missiles were being guided by humans, so it took a human to intercept them. Your missiles are pretty twisted too. Duking it out with you would make anyone twisted. They circled at high speed, shooting at the missiles that chased them one by one. Naturally, both were simultaneously guided missiles, intercepting them and also controlling the speed and direction of their own flight. It would be impossible for a normal person to do all this at the same time. That's why Gauntlet Knights were admired by children. No, by people everywhere. In a battle between superhumans like this, how you fool your opponent is vital. Even games that appear to be completely intellectual, like chess and shogi, are eventually decided with a physical contest depending on the glucose levels in your blood. They were being chased by a swarm of missiles flying in complex trajectories, constantly intercepting them while still firing missiles themselves and looking for a chance to corner their opponent. Doing so was brutally exhausting. And the instant you gave your opponent an opening, they'd take advantage of it and end the whole thing. That was how a standard one-on-one fight between Gauntlet Knights went. So, you think you can win if it's an endurance dogfight, huh? Don't forget, Meow. I know, you're a super genius, right? Yep, I'm Super Genius Jaden! What a dork! The next instant, Jaden scattered glowing feathers throughout the air as he changed his movement pattern. He turned at his right angle, headed straight toward the floor of a building. He burst through the massive glass windows and flew inside. The entire 58th floor of the Mew Spiritomb building is a single observation deck restaurant! He raced through the empty restaurant, setting tables flying. While playing as a fierce game of tag with iron missiles, Jaden had also been investigating. He had access to floor plans of the Mew Spiritomb building that had been the center of their dogfight. The building screening the two of them from each other had instantly become a shortcut. You little! I'm a super genius! Hear me roar! Ah! The entire building pierced as he performed an all-out body slam backed by a force field. Despite that, Meow had just barely managed to dodge. He kicked off the empty air and sent glowing feathers flying, changing his direction at the right angle and plunging straight down. Of course, Jaden had been naive enough to hope that his surprise attack would land a clean hit. However, in dodging, Meow had been forced to make a too sudden vector of a change, and the anti-HMS in his body had used up almost all the energy in an instant.
Energy depleted! Beginning recharge, Poyo!
Until you're fully recharged, you can't do anything at all, Poyo! Without any energy left, Meow lost all control and could do nothing but let himself free fall straight down. His energy would recharge soon, but in an extreme close combat situation like this, that pause would be utterly fatal. Jay was looking down at him from above in complete control. Their raw, unaugmented gazes crossed. Jaden swung his right arm down, scattering glowing feathers about as he summoned a .5 caliber heavy machine gun.
Enemy unit Jaden has achieved target lock. Energy recharge in process. Evasive maneuvers highly recommended, Poyo. But too bad, Poyo. You're still recharging, so you can't do anything, Poyo. Oh, but even if you're in free fall, you can still pray, Poyo.
God damn it, this new version of Carol Pro sure is an asshole. Gotcha! Meow! Ignition. Huh? Even when supplemented by the Reaper's Eye system, which makes it impossible to observe the entirety of the surrounding area, people tend to focus on a single point when they get excited. In that instant, all other directions become blind spots for them. So, by the time he saw that, it was already right behind him. At the exact same time, Meow had made his emergency dodge downwards. He had summoned a missile directly above himself. He had just summoned it in midair, nothing more. It was merely a floating object, not guided or moving in any way. So it had entered freefall and was now right behind Jaden. However, it wasn't as though he hadn't been given this missile any orders. It just had one. And that was to explode after a few seconds delay. A massive explosion engulfed Jaden from behind. An instant later, a pure white angel feathers were scattered all over the area in front of the blast. It was a sign that the rejection shield had blocked the explosion. A Gauntlet Knight wouldn't succumb to a little attack like that. They could fly about at will, arm themselves at will, and also shield themselves at will. It was an invincible shield usable only by Gauntlet Knights who could perform oh crap. Okay, how do I say this? I know I had my pronunciation guide. Dry sig. Not dressing. Dry sig. Okay. Dry sig. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. It was an invincible shield usable only by Gauntlet Knights who could perform a dressing conversion on Spiritium unaided. A rejection shield. They could extend it instantly, blocking any sort of attack. However, depending on the strength of the attack, whether the defender was taken by a surprise, doing so could expend a massive amount of energy. You got me! As if I'd let you win with a little trick like that. It'd been a completely unexpected trap, and it had resulted in a blast to the back with extreme close range. Jaden had used up almost all of his energy in an instant. Triggering it at such a close range would have taken you out with a shrapnel too. You gotta put me up my shield to block it. You really are crazy awesome and totally screwed up, meow! Setting glowing feathers scattering with the last of his energy, Jaden rapidly accelerated toward Meow. And Meow, who was in freefall, waited for Jaden as he came to sell this. Jaden! Meow! Surrounded by dancing fragments of the glass, glowing wings, and shrapnel from the blast, the two men with raised fists collided. Gotcha! As the pair descended in freefall, two punches containing all their strength crossed. It was a cross counter. So, would they take each other out? No. The victor was clear. If you're short, that means your arms are short too. Right, Meow? Jaden's right straight definitely reached Meow's cheek, but Meow's right straight didn't make it. The difference in reach was obvious. Damn it! In the end, the showdown between Gauntlet Knight Aces was decided not by wit nor physical strength nor glucose levels, but by high alone. Their energy was recharged and they regained control, rescuing from the shackles of freefall. Oof, sorry. I hate this right arm! Give me a saw! It's coming off! And I'm gonna replace it with a rocket fist! Sweet! Let me know what you do! I'll even give you a special permission to punch me! That's a promise, okay? Don't you go forgetting it! Still, I expect no less from you, Meow. I thought I launched the perfect sneak attack, but it had been perfect. He wouldn't have been able to set up a trap so quickly. I bet he figured I'd come out and with a shortcut and waited for me. I moved first, so I was able to make it through the chaos somehow, but if I had seen a heartbeat slower, and if Meow had finished his preparations, I probably would have been taken out neatly. Not bad, partner. I may have won by a nose, but the battle's far from... I let you win, obviously! I mean, you always get pissed when you don't win in the end. Naturally, I lost on purpose for the sake of your mental health. Huh? And I was trying to be a gracious winner, too. No matter how you look at it, my trap worked perfectly and I won. In a real battle, it wouldn't end with a punch. And my recharge would have at least been 1 second sooner. And if it were a real battle, I would have blown you away with a force field and slammed you against the wall, winning. Ah, damn it. We almost closed out that scene so neatly and now you ruined it. Though he said this, Jaden laughed, looking somewhat amused. Meow wasn't really the sore loser he sounded like. They both had just been scuffling around and playing. And look, now he's smiling too. However, his expression transformed utterly a second later. But you know what? That was way too reckless, putting your body on the line with a sudden sneak attack like that. In a real battle, we would have taken each other out. Or you might have hit the building and blown yourself up. Aren't you supposed to be a super genius? Then don't fight in a way that'll end up mutually killing both you and a super normal enemy. I know that! We were playing, so I just had a bit of fun, okay? And that's not all! The paths of those first suppression missiles were too simple. You keep getting stuck in a power without twisting it up a bit. And you wasted time when intercepting missiles. Your trajectory when dodging was weak too. Just look at the trajectory data. 3 seconds after you started intercepting missiles. What a pointless maneuver! Get rid of the loss from this part, and you would have had enough energy to finish me off in the final clash. And look at the trajectory data from 23 seconds later and 24.2 seconds later. Make gravity and inertia your friends instead of wasting your anti-GHMS. Hey, are you listening to me, Super Genius Jaden? Great, here comes Lecture Mom Meow. Meow sending bits of foul action data, one after another, marked with red annotations. At first, I thought this guy was so annoying, acting like he was my instructor or something. However, when he lectures people, he's definitely not letting his emotions get the better of him. The things he always points out are always accurate. And most importantly, he really does watch people. Normally in a fight, you only think about how you're going to take down your opponent and how super strong you'll be when you win, right? Meow's always watching his opponent when he fights. Always thinking. It might sound weird when I put it like this, but he's always seriously thinking about his opponent's feelings. However, the way that you demonstrated parallel thinking by searching for a way to strike back when playing tag with missiles wasn't bad. You used evasive maneuvers to gain yourself a moment of time to stockpile your mental resources, which you employed effectively. Judging by your level of strain, you minimized the amount of unused mental resources throughout the fight. Well, it's not like I can leave any of my brain unused in a fight against you, Meow. See? He really does look closely at his opponent's feelings. He may never miss it when someone gets clumsy or screws up, but he also never misses when people work hard. I tried in my own way to make use of the precious advice he gave me in our previous match, and it looked like he really noticed. You tried in your own way to confront the problems you had the last time we fought. That's what makes you a super genius, Jaden. Nice work. Damn it, why the hell am I blushing at a compliment from this guy? This is why I've never had any desire to quit being your buddy.
A friend has a right, Poyo! A friend has a right, Poyo! A friend has a right, Poyo! A friend has a right, Poyo!
Then my Kisuno's Keropoyo notified me that a bunch of friends had arrived at once. Sheesh, can't you let the two of us flirt alone and plead? Sorry, an air bubble reached my mouth and made my mouth itchy. Sheesh, can't you let the two of us flirt alone in peace? Seriously? Just when you should try trying to preserve your sugar levels, you start an all-out battle? We didn't do much, just a bit of a warm-up, right? That's right! Just a bit of a light stretching. Your blood sugar levels don't agree.
Friendly unit Lula!
Actually, CICONIA came out in 2019. Let me think. Okay. Lilia and Koshka. Lilia and Koshka. I kept saying Ilcha every time when I was reading. This is why I got a pronunciation guide, so I don't mess up anymore. But now I have to get used to saying the names. Let me practice a bit. Lilia Koshka. Okay, got it.
Friendly unit Lilia! Lilia! Okay, gotta practice. Okay. Friendly unit Lilia has registered as hostile. Friendly unit Kushka has registered hostile. Who would have guessed we'd find a couple of kitties playing a place like this, Meow?
Well, this looks like a place worth smashing. I was so bored. Time to blow off some steam to make up for it.
Let's see who can take down the others first, Meow. There's no way I'd ever lose to a hit like Koshka, Meow.
Don't make me laugh. I'll take you on and all the others and crush you.
Go ahead and do it if you can. I'll beat up Meow and Jaden and plant you upside down in the Siberian permafrost, Meow Meow. And the units, Lulja and Koshka, have...
This is so hard! I'm not used to these pronunciations. Okay, let's try again.
And the units, Lulja and Koshka has...
Why? Try that again.
And the units, Lulja and Koshka, have activated Reaper's Eye. You've been targeted, boyo. And the unit, Lulja, is summoning an anti-air mine dispenser, boyo. Enemy Koshka is summoning an anti-gauntlet sniper rifle, boyo.
Hey, just stop it already! The instructor's gonna get mad at me!
Odds of Chloe getting chewed out by the inspector now at 99%, boyo. Get her.
Who knows?
I can't take this anymore.
Good grief. Meow, Jaden, are you sure such a light warm has enough for you? No, I was just thinking it was time for a real warm-up. Right, Meow? Yeah. This time let's check our ability to work as a team. If you take a gamble like last time, I'll really punch you, okay? Sure. I'll just wait for you to get a rocket fist so you can actually reach my face. Then it's decided. Chloe, we should warm up a little too. Friendly unit! Oh, shit. Okay. Goonhild. Okay. I have to get this right. This is so hard. I'm not good at these types. Okay, Goonhild. Okay, let's try that. Friendly unit Goonhild instead. Let's try again. Friendly unit Goonhild is registered as hostile? What? No! I looked it up. I hope it's right. I have no idea.
Friendly unit Goonhild has initiated HMS surveillance and is now providing data to friendly units, boyo. Enemy unit Chloe has begun accessing Super Tokyo's towers, anti-air cannon, Sakura 1, and Asagao 1, boyo.
She may try to hide it, but Chloe's totally on board with this. Just let me take all of you out! Instructor, none of this is my fault!
I'll happily take first strikes, meow. I'm gonna eat up everything and not gonna leave a scrap for Koshka.
If you and my target line up, I'll skewer you.
Do it if you can, meow, meow.
Here they come! Let's go, meow! Yeah! I'm so fired up I couldn't care less about that Ballastera Festival of Peace!
It wouldn't be any other way, boyo. Okay, ready? Fight, boyo!
All is in the name of guiding humanity down the right path. Yep, anything that is when they cry higurashi Umineko. Yeah. Same guy. Yep. 07th expansion. That's the group. That's like the, because he doesn't work alone, so. Yeah. Okay. Now let's see. No matter how far virtual reality advances, it'll never compare to the shock of the body's 5 senses. Suddenly, all 5 of the audience senses were struck by an ear-splitting roar that rumbled down to the pit of their stomachs, as well as the other sensations like the smell of iron and oil mixed together. Just now, 5 shiny silver fighters... Just now, 5 shiny silver fighter planes passed right over us, dancing through the sky above the International Bandstand Festival of Peace at Gifu Stadium. Flying by their head was this year's host, Japan of the Arctic Ocean Union. On the other side are the fighters from the Europe Middle East Alliance and the Central Ocean Union and the Africa Commonwealth Realm and the Latin American Treaty Organization. Yeah, that's a whole mouthful. This, I swear CICONIA is going to be like a total doozy for me to read one day. Like, if I get to read all of it. Because part of it is an embargo and I can't release all of that footage out. Because, like, not supposed to. Also, Gifu? What? Gifu? Gifu, like, Hinamizawa? Higurashi? Is that a Higurashi reference? Okay, anyway. Yeah. And, like, even if you put, like, abbreviations, I'm still screwed, because I'm not good at those either. So anyway. That was a joint flight of fighters from the 5 great factions. Just magnificent. What a fitting ceremony for the Bandstand Festival of Peace. These warriors of peace have honed their skills day and night to defend peace on this planet, and the crowd can't get enough of them. Let there be eternal peace in this world. And thank you, warriors of peace, for supporting the walls of peace from both sides yet again today. But the walls of peace will surely crumble, if not supported from both sides. Wait, oops, let's try that again. The walls of peace will surely crumble, if not supported from both sides. James F. Kennedy. This is what we call Dominic's barrel, or sometimes Kennedy's powder keg. After saying this, the instructor wrote Kennedy's powder keg on the electronic blackboard behind him. An illustration that resembled a keg appeared. Both the letters in the illustration were drawn very poorly, and the students all giggled. The instructor was teaching while walking amongst the students' seats, his hands clasped behind him. Though the blackboard was far away from him, he was directly drawing and writing on it. He was using a brainwave input device, also called a mental tablet. Once we needed the hands to manipulate the writing tools, keyboards, and equipment needed to leave records. However, humanity in this world had gained the ability to not only write letters, but even draw pictures without using their hands. However, no matter the device, only the young can use it to full capacity when it's brand new, so the aged instructor still wasn't used to it, leading to these rough letters and drawings that didn't suit his high upbringing and education at all. As you can see, the keg is a cylindrical container made of several boards bound together. Since my drawing is so pathetic, I ask that all of you who lack an imagination do an image search. If you can have a tablet in your brain, then of course, you can have a display there too. So the more serious students did a serious search for the word keg, which was displayed as an image inside their brains. Those less serious were using their mental displays to watch TV, play games, or else chat with their friends in virtual rooms. Nearby people had no way of telling that someone was looking at their mental display. Also, if you wanted to chat with your friends, there was no need to move your mouth. You could use the mental transmission to talk without speaking. And so, both serious and non-serious students gave birth to the ideal environment for themselves. Kennedy's powder keg represents the gunpowder of conflict sealed in the container where the military efforts of each individual country formed the boards. Then a red line was drawn from the picture of the keg on the blackboard, and one of the boards was removed, leaving a gap. However, what if just one board was short and left a gap? Naturally, everything inside the keg would pour out. Kennedy's powder keg tells us that even if a single country fails in its military efforts for the sake of peace, the gunpowder of conflict will pour out from there and explode. Once military power had been necessary to protect the safety of one's nation. In every nation and every era, young people who take on the responsibility of protecting their country have been praised for their patriotism and service to the state. They're like white blood cells in the human body, and no one ever finds anything odd about praising them. Good night! However, the massive losses caused by the two world wars and the Cold War brought about by nuclear weapons, and particularly after the advancement of data storage techniques that allowed the inhumanities of war to be seen far and wide over and over again, some humanity had developed what might be called a war allergy. Then, the Great Depression at the end of the 21st century kicked off a fierce economic downturn. People in countries around the world started talking seriously about reducing military spending. Taking advantage of that, pacifists began a major global campaign. That movement received an international tailwind, gaining heavy support from people from across the world, made poor by a social security system that had been crushed by the Depression. Certain politicians played to the masses and rode this tailwind, building up bases of support all over the planet. They spoke pleasant-sounding words of world peace and love for all humanity, leading to the charge for unilateral disarmament in certain countries and earning wide acclaim. All over the world, videos were shared of soldiers returning to their medals, leaving the army, claiming that being a soldier was a shameful way to serve one's country. The first few who started this boom were praised by the press, and many clamored to have them nominated for the Bernhard Peace Prize. The whole world praised this as a beautiful story, one that would encourage all who suffered under the Great Depression. Every day, the news told stories of countless soldiers leaving armies as an act of self-criticism against the military to applause of the other people. And it delighted in showing stories of tanks and fighter jets being scrapped, giving numbers for how much that had saved in construction and maintenance costs, and comparing that to how many babies could be fed with the same funds. It was a global disarmament boom. If all neighboring countries had reduced their militaries at the same time, this would have been a wonderful thing. However, as a prisoner's dilemma suggests, strategies that basically assume that your partner will act with benevolence are less than ideal in affairs between nations. This resulted in an extremely tilted military balance across several national borders around the world. At the same time, national leaders who disarmed and unilaterally were lauded as pioneers of world peace and given several international awards. However, in the current A3W era, their reputation had done a 180. They were condemned for abandoning their support of the walls of peace that separate countries and accused of the sin of negligence in their duties toward world peace. Provide a deterrent to arms races and security development, enshrine the gunpowder of war by maintaining a suitable military balance between all countries. This is the philosophy of the IMPA, the International Peace Meditation Association, and it is how a healthy military balance preserves world peace. World War III had several causes, but some likened it to a human body where a nutritional imbalance had triggered a great illness that led to the concept of world peace preserved by a healthy military balance. For example, Japan once polished rice because it tasted better that way, which led to the vitamin deficiency and a disease called beriberi. They removed the bad-tasting bran, but they didn't realize it contained vital nutrients. That bran was like military might. True, military might does have a violent and inhumane side to it. Any humanitarian would claim that it tasted bad. However, when they polished it off and threw it away, it resulted in a fatal nutrition deficiency for certain nations. When military might only exist on some sides and not on others, it's easy to enter an irreversible situation. It was like trying to climb a mountain without a safety line. You'll be fine as long as nothing happens, but if something unexpected occurs, there won't be anything left to support you. One of World War III's other causes, populism, led to the increasing friction between neighboring countries and placed a lot of pressure on border regions. That wouldn't have been a problem if those borders, those walls of peace, had been supported on both sides. However, whenever one side refused to support these walls, they fell over easily, inviting a situation that couldn't be undone. Military might is an element that tastes bitter to humanity. We have chosen to view it as a mineral, a micronutrient, necessary for the body to function. Everyone knows that if you pile up zinc and iron and manganese on a table and eat it, it'll be harmful to your health. However, these are essential nutrients that you can't afford to be deprived of, and you need to continue ingesting them in suitable quantities. In the same way, a nation's military might needs to be maintained to a suitable degree to bring about healthy relationships between countries, or so they say. As a result, military might was viewed as a different light in the A3W era as micronutrients for nations. The tendency to think of soldiers as murderers and enemies of peace was done away with. After all, soldiers of your country were fundamentally war buddies, even to soldiers in neighboring countries, as they all worked together to support the walls of peace. The social rank of soldiers and the world became one in which children didn't hesitate to say they wanted to become soldiers when they grew up. Soldiers no longer existed for the purpose of defeating their opponents. They were redefined as servants of international peace who protected not only their own country, but also their country's neighbors. They supported the walls of peace between countries, preparing for unexpected situations in nearby nations that even those nations wouldn't have wanted, and prevented them from developing into something irreversible. You know, I just realized something and I need to change it right now. Okay. Even the closest spouses and friends fight sometimes. Soldiers who supported the walls of peace were like cushions wedged in the middle of fights like that, preventing a failed situation from developing so that everyone could laugh it off and forgive each other in the end. Humans really are crazy, huh? Think so. Two people who looked very different from those students watched this lecture through their mental displays. They seemed to be amusing themselves with it rather than attending it. I mean, whenever organisms gather together, it's to increase their chances of survival, right? In other words, they gain enough military might to protect themselves against outward foes. Isn't rejecting something like that basically sacrilege against the miracle of life on this planet? No. I wasn't trying to criticize people for praising strong militaries. Oh, you weren't. Then what are you trying to say? I don't care if you've criticized or praised militaries, as you said, Grandmaster. Military power is a natural right you have as a life form to increase the odds of your survival. It's also a natural obligation you have for the sake of protecting your descendants, who can't protect themselves. But at the same time, it's also a double-edged sword that can both hurt you and your neighbors. So whether you criticize it or worship it, you should always continue debating and searching for a better way to exist. So the most important thing is having people debate all the time? Isn't debate just a means that you use to reach an end? I doubt you can guide the common man if your means become your ends. True, debate can easily lead to wasting time. It's not a great idea to gradually work out a solution when you've got an urgent and pressing issue to deal with. I'm just trying to explain how unpleasant these extreme changes are, and how it's just unpleasant when nothing changes at all. Right up until World War III, military might was viewed as evil. Their culture was such that every politician, philosopher, musician, and artist went on and on about love and peace and how they needed to throw away their weapons because military were the shame of humanity. It was a world where even whispering about the need for military power on social media would be enough to get someone accused of blasphemy against peace and socially murdered. However, even though humanity disliked military might, that didn't mean they abandoned their dislike for other races. As a result, the door to World War III was opened not by military maintained by nations, but by selfish military actions by individual people with self-righteous ideals. And now that's totally flipped around, with everyone saying, "Long live the military, thank you troops, I'm gonna grow up to be a great soldier who protects his country in world peace." Yeah, that is pretty extreme. Hilarious, in fact. And now if you imply that militaries are immoral in any way, the whole world will call it blasphemy against peace and ostracize you. At first it seems to be the exact opposite of what they did before, but they're basically doing the same thing. Offering differing opinions are aggressively silenced, and no one has the guts to actually discuss the issue. The mind of the masses is like a single bit of data. You mean it can only ever be 0 or 1? Yeah, that's it. Are you on the far right side or the far left? They can't see anything besides that. And because that's all their mind can hold, they aren't capable of debate. They aren't even receptive or clever enough to accept a position that's different from theirs. If you want to strengthen that one-bit person, then there's no choice but to train them, right? I bet that training would be pretty harsh for those one-bits. By training the one-bits, they must have meant the act of letting differing opinions collide in debates. However, no matter which time period you look at, history doesn't record many people capable of tolerating different opinions in the name of diversity. Whether it's religions, ideologies, or how you like your eggs cooked, the world is full of people incapable of accepting diversity. After all, even people who claim to be for diversity are unable to accept the existence of people who dispute that belief. It's not at all an easy thing to do. People crowd together with those who share their own views, exterminating all opposing views. That's what debate means to humanity now, as it approaches the 10 billion person mark once again. It's been like this since before the time of Rome. Sometimes kings urge their subjects to take part in debate. However, the 1 bits never managed to count to anything but 0 or 1. Still, in my opinion, if you stop thinking and debating, you aren't even a human anymore. You really are a worry, aren't you? Very well. I shall grant you the title of 8-bit. You honor me, Grandmaster. The people can't do anything but advance in a direction that's been decided for them. Showing people where to go is what a king does. If you're waiting for the common man to gain enough intelligence to take part in debate, I'm afraid the sun will probably burn out first, right? Even so, I want to have faith in people. What if people didn't get kicked around by the consensus, going forward when they say forward, stopping when they say stop, and going left and right when they tell you to? What if everyone could have their own opinions, debate them together, and accept each other? And what if then you looked around and saw that everyone accepted everyone else, and that everyone was moving in the same direction? I hope a miracle like that would occur someday. It might not happen until the day before the sun burns out and the globe is covered with ice, but I believe we will make it in time. Drat. Mizoguchi lost. Come on, isn't judo supposed to be Japan's specialty? Last year, a power harassment scandal threw the association into chaos. Guess this means I win. Several numbers appear in their virtual space. The numbers on Sasat's side decreased and were added to Tojiro's side. This time, they were watching a broadcast of the International Battle Standard Festival of Peace. This is why I was worried. It was a celebration of peace where countless young people displayed the techniques they had honed and the hard work they had put in for the sake of this day. However, to the middle-aged people casually gazing at it, it was merely something to compliment a drink or to bet on. Alright, and this is where we'll stop tonight. That's it. Good night. Hold on, just let me, save and all that stuff. No, I'm not doing that one. Shh. We're saving. Whoa, when was this? I don't remember. Oh, this is probably where I left off of my own reading. Right.